Hey everyone, it's Jenna, and today we're going to be discussing The Hidden Oracle by Riordan. This is the first book in the Trials of Apollo series. As usual, I will give a spoiler-free mini review of this book before I begin into my spoilery section of this video. So of course, this story follows our main character Apollo, who has been turned into a 16-year-old mortal boy because his father Zeus decided to punish him for what his descendants did. And if you guys read the Heroes of Olympus series, you know who I'm talking about. Apollo teams up with this 12-year-old demigod named Meg. They arrive at Camp Half-Blood, and Apollo finds out that his arch-nemesis Python is trying to reclaim the Oracle. So he realizes that he has to reclaim the Oracle in order to regain his throne on Olympus. So of course, this book was a reread for me. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed Apollo. I really enjoyed Meg. It's just there was a lot of boat dumps. See a lot of familiar faces like Percy and other cameos I don't want to say in case of spoilers, but I'm glad that we got to focus on a god instead of their children. I love how Rick just wovens up these myths into modern day society and gives off this sassy humor we know and love, and the haikus in each chapter were enough to make me smile, and I was so happy to read this at Camp Half-Blood and see these cameos again and see all these people and Apollo grow as a mortal being and learning to understand human emotions and how humans work was absolutely phenomenal. The first person though, it took a little time to get used to because we were in third perspective with 7 other demigods in the last series. So I did really enjoy the first person because it really brought back cherished memories with Percy and how sassy his humor was. And Apollo is like 10 times sassier, and I was just like giggling or laughing out loud, and sometimes I couldn't even laugh out loud because it was 2 o'clock in the morning when I was reading this book. The funniest part about Apollo was he was still expecting people to worship the crown he was stood on, but that wasn't the case, and people were just like, yeah, Apollo, you're not a god anymore, so yeah. So that is all I can give you for this non-spoilery section. If you haven't read this book yet, please leave now, and I will see you next time when you read this book. So bye-bye, non-spoilery people. Just talk about for a second that when Apollo swore on the roof Styx that he would never pick up a bow or play a musical instrument until he was a god again. Why on Hades would he do that? I understand that he was overreacting and he was like stressing out that he wasn't a god anymore, but that's one of his main strengths. How is he going to defend himself without using his bow or playing a musical weapon instrument or something like that? Then his double river Styx pack bites him on the butt when Meg gets kidnapped by giant ants, and then he has to make a pact with someone else, some god advertiser named Polly, to swear to save Meg, and I was just like, God, Apollo, what are you doing? When Apollo and Meg were in the labyrinth, and they end up in Apollo's arch-nemesis' lair, and the second Meg heard the beast's voice, I automatically knew she was working for him and that she will betray us, but that betrayal still was very painful and it was just so heart-wrenching. I was just like, why, Meg? Why? Just why? Even though I knew Meg was going to betray Apollo, I still grew attached to her, and I felt so bad for her when Nesto practically convinced her that him and the beast were 2 completely different people, and that's not true. And Apollo kept telling her and tried to get her to snap out of it, but she wasn't listening, and I felt so bad. It was just horrible, and apparently Nesto killed her father when she was like 4 or 5 years old, so she's So he's been practically brainwashing her for over 7 years. I don't think I really learned anything about Emperor Nesto in school. Maybe once or twice in school, but not a lot to like imprint in my mind. And apparently Nesto made this statue and put it in this arena, and that's why it's called the Colosseum. I don't know. It was interesting to learn about, but it was still a little confusing. So we find out that all communications have been shut down, from iris messages to dream messages, so on and so forth. And a lot of campers have been going missing and going into the woods. And we find out that Deliora, the ancient oracle, has regrown in the Camp Half-Blood Woods, and the Queen of Titans is the one who's in charge of that. Let's talk about Meg's Garlic Parrot for a second. At first, I thought it was a demigod or like a stepdad, like a human dad or something like that. But then Peaches comes around, she starts using her powers, and then I'm like, she's Demeter's daughter. The thing is, how I know this is because I took like the demigod Olympus reading shorts. I don't know if you guys read any of those before the app went down, but I did research on Demeter when I found out my character was a daughter of Demeter, and I'm like, oh, she's daughter of Demeter. And Nessa said, don't worry, I have help in the camp and I have the upper hand, and Apollo will have no choice but to cooperate. I knew one or two of his kids were gonna be lured into the woods. I honestly feel like this is gonna be the last series with Roman and Greek mythology, because apparently the three powerful Roman emperors have been funding all the wars that have been happening to the demigods and with the giants and the titans, and I'm like, what? Like the Princess Andromeda, for example, that yacht belonged to the three emperors that were running the corporation. I'm just like, oh no, 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 no. So there's 5 different oracles, and the only one that Nesto can't claim or control is the Forest of Deliora. So he's trying to get Apollo and Meg to destroy the grove because, oh, we can't control it, so we might as well destroy it. So the demigods can't get any prophecy, so I'm just like, Meg is a daughter of Demeter. She doesn't want to destroy the grove, and she doesn't want any of the demigods that were captured to be killed. And so she starts fighting off Nesto with Peaches, and I was just so happy that she went against Nesto and stood up for herself and stood up for who she is and who she is as a daughter of Demeter. And I was just like, happen in the beginning of the book. We meet Will and we see Nico together, and we got a bit of a hint that Will and Nico might be a thing in Blood of Olympus, but I didn't expect it to happen, and they were so cute. I loved them so much, and I found it hilarious that Nico used his document as an excuse for everything. He was like sitting at the Apollo table and everything, and Apollo was like, why are you sitting at the Apollo table? Shouldn't you sit at the Hades table? He's like, well, I can't be alone for a long period of time, otherwise zombies appear out of the ground and it gets pretty ugly. And that's what it says on my doctor's note. And Will's like, I'm his doctor. And I'm like, why are they so cute? At the near end of the book, during the battle, Apollo's like, Will, Kayla, Austin, come with me. And then Nico's like, and me too. I have my doctor's note. And I'm like, really? Really, Nico? When Meg and Apollo put the chimes up in the grove and they got the prophecy, I was so happy that Leo and Calypso were going to be part of the next book. And personally, Leo is my favorite out of the 7 demigods in the Heroes of Olympus series, because He's so funny and I love him so much. I'm really interested to see how Callisto's gonna play a role in this series. Like, I know that she's mortal now and she doesn't have her powers. Like, maybe she'll be granted her powers again. I don't know. It's just, I'm like so excited that she's gonna be a main character or a side character in this series. I find it funny that Apollo was just looking for all the famous demigods. Like, where's the famous demigods? Where's that flying boy Jason? And then Percy comes to help out in the battle in Hot Camp Half Blood. He's like, yeah, we're fresh out of flying boys. Can we just talk about for a second that Sally, Percy's mom, is actually pregnant with a baby girl, and that Percy's gonna have a baby sister? Oh, I am so happy for her and Paul to finally raise a child together. And at the same time, I'm a bit worried about the child's safety, and I'm worried that the baby might be used for leverage or something against Percy and his family. I don't know. I'm happy for them, but at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned. When Apollo refused to take the bow and Will gave him this weaponized ukulele, and the head counselor of Demeter gave Meg these seeds, he kept making these flower jokes. And when Meg told him to throw the seeds on her when she was trapped in the goop, he's like, no, too many people I care about have turned into plants and trees. And I'm like, Apollo and Meg say Deliora, Apollo gets this talking arrow that gives him occasional advice from time to time, and when Apollo comes up with a plan to create a plagued arrow and shoot it in the giant statue's ear, and the statue's in the not the statue, the arrow's like, "You're not gonna use me." And it was like, God, like seriously? The Ant Queen, and when Apollo was singing to her, she like was filled with emotion and she let them go. He's like, may I call you mama? Scene at the gates felt so much darker than it really meant to be, and it was just so uncomfortable to read at times because we see the relationship with Meg and Nesto and the Beast, and how Nesto was brainwashing her into thinking that everything that the Beast does is her fault, and it's not the truth. And it was so painful to read. It was like heartbreaking. And then I wanted to scream at Meg, it's not true, it's not true. But I know that's not how you should tell someone who's been verbally abused and brainwashed for 7 years. It was just so painful. Went down after everything Nesto's done to the camp and how he attempted to burn the grove and kill the demigods. She still believes Nesto to be her stepfather, that he's a good man and he's taken care of her for so many years and given her a home, that she doesn't know anything else. And it's just so upsetting. I just want her to stay in Camp Half-Blood and stay with Apollo and have her help Apollo with his trials. And I just don't want Meg to suffer anymore. So that's it for my Hidden Oracle book talk. I make new videos every single week, so click subscribe when you're notified for when I post new content. And I will see you guys very, very soon.